Hey everyone, it's me, and today we are taking another viewer request as always. This one comes from 3 different sources. Patrick Does, Summer Rose, and Kathy Astrom. Thank you so much for your suggestion, and this one is a sequel to something that we've already done. And it's also kind of a reboot, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
I'm gonna watch with you just like I always do. With all the magic here, we're keeping busy. This show will bring you joy, cause I'm a massive fanboy. There's just so much to see when Mr. Does Disney.
Admiral, above decks!
Listen.
Directed by Rob Marshall. Oh, that's right.
Jane!
What is it, Ellen?
The bloody sink's exploded!
Oh, not again.
Will you stop that banging?
Forgive the intrusion, Mum. Our current workload prevents us from taking weekends off.
We would like to have a word with Mr. Banks if he is available.
Notice of repossession.
Struggling through a bit of chaos this morning, please.
So it seems. Unfortunately, Mr. Banks, our business cannot wait. I am Hamilton Gooding. This is Mr. Templeton Fry. We are solicitors with the law firm of Gordy, Caudry, Gooding and Fry. What?
No, sorry, nothing.
Mr. Banks, you took out a loan with Fidelity Fiduciary Bank last year against the value of your home.
You did what? Michael?
I had to, Jane. With Kate and the bills piling up, I really had no choice.
It's hard enough these days, isn't it?
Yes, well, shh. It seems you have fallen 3 months behind in your payments.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Kate, my wife, used to look after our finances, and I've been a bit off stride. Forgive me. How much is it that I owe you exactly?
Unfortunately, the bank is now demanding that you pay back the entire loan in full.
The entire loan?
Yes, it's all in the contract.
That's more than I make in a year. I couldn't possibly.
Oh, dear. You have 5 days. If you are unable to pay in full by Friday at midnight, I'm afraid we will have to repossess your home and you will have to vacate the premises.
But I work for
talk
Fidelity
about
Fiduciary.
bullying.
Not as an accountant, I presume.
No, as a teller, I took a part-time position there this past year. You see, I'm really an artist.
Yes, be that as it may.
But my father, George Banks, was a senior partner there.
Father left us shares in the bank. You could use those to pay off the loan.
I was saving those for the children.
Shares? In the bank? That does change things, doesn't it?
Primed and ready, Mr. Binnacle.
I like the one guy. He's like,
Do you have the shares
does
certificates?
change things.
I'm sorry, the what?
The document?
The document proving you own shares in the bank.
I suppose it must be somewhere among Father's old papers.
Yes, I suppose it must.
3, 2, 1, fire! As are we this morning. You've been given notice. We'll see ourselves out. Come along, Mr. Fry.
Should probably just get rid of it all.
Have you looked in Father's old desk?
I honestly can't remember why we kept most of this stuff to begin with. I mean, why on earth did we save this old broken thing?
Don't you remember that kite? We used to love flying that with Mother and Father.
Well, it won't fly anymore. Out it goes. No looking back.
Well, let's see. It's a 9-minute walk to the shop. So if it takes 10 minutes to...
Excuse me, children! Coming through!
Coming through.
Georgie,
Coming
back!
through.
Georgie! Whoa! Ah!
Hold on!
Doesn't
As I live and breathe.
She doesn't use an umbrella, she uses his kite.
You need to be more careful when the wind rises, George. You nearly lost your kite. Had you two nearly lost your Georgie, he might have got away completely had I not been holding on to the other end of that string. My goodness, Annabelle, what have you done to your clothes? You could grow a garden in that much soil, and John, yes, just as filthy.
How do you know our names?
Because she's Mary Poppins, of course. May I
course,
say you look
of
lovely
course.
as always.
Do you really think so? Nice to see you, Jack.
Good to see you too, Mary Poppins.
Come! Come look!
Wait, where did you get that kite?
I found it in the park. She kept it from blowing away.
Good heavens. It really is you.
You seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? How incredibly rude. One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
I'm sorry, I didn't...
You came back. I thought we'd never see you again.
It is wonderful to see you.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Now, about my employment.
Yes, about your employment. The truth is, I simply can't
We
afford
can settle on terms later, although I will want my old room back. That's if it's not a complete disaster. And I will insist on having every second Tuesday off.
I'm afraid
Of course, Mary Poppins. Good, good. That's all settled. Then I'll stay. Now, if you'll excuse me, the children have turned themselves into dustbins, so the first order of business is to see them properly bathed and dressed.
If I had known that George Banks's son had taken a loan with us, I would have handled the paperwork myself. Unfortunately, regarding an extension, there's very little I can do at this point.
See, our father did leave us shares in the bank.
Oh, well, that is good news.
Yes, yes, it is, but the trouble is we can't seem to find the share certificate.
You wouldn't happen to have any record of father's shares, would you?
Babcock, Baker... Doesn't seem to be a listing for George Banks here. Don't despair. You still have until that big fellow out there chimes his last on Friday night to find that certificate. And I'll keep looking here as well.
Yes, well, thank you so very much, Mr. Wilkins. It's really been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Very kind of you. Thank you, Mr. Wilkins.
Not at all.
Sit over there, please, children. Good afternoon. I'd like to see Mr. Michael...
for those, sir.
Of course. Excuse me a moment.
What did you do that for? You hurt his feelings. You do know who those men are, don't you, Georgie? Yes, they're the lawyers. He's the nice one. Maybe we could convince him to help us. Worth a try. Today or never, that's my motto.
I'd like to see Mr. Michael Banks, please.
Running a business, not a charity.
It's just, well, his family has suffered tremendous hardship this past year.
You are not giving Banks one more second to pay off that loan. Do I make myself clear?
Look! Shh! It's the wolf.
In 2 days, Banks will be out on that street, and the house will be ours.
Georgie, no! You can't steal our house! I'm telling my father!
Steal your... And who are you?
These are the Banks children.
Are they? Come here, boy. I think you might have
Let's go,
misunderstood.
Georgie! Run!
Close that door, Miss Farthing!
He's the wolf! Trying to steal our house!
What are you talking about?
I'm afraid your children burst into my office just now, Banks. They came in claiming I was trying to steal your house.
He is! We hurt him!
Mr. Wilkins is trying to help
But
us.
then why was he chasing us?
I just thought they might stop running around and making a scene if I offered them some sweets. After all, you don't want your father losing his position on account of you, do you? I know time is running short, Banks, but I want you to have every chance of paying off that loan. So I will make sure that I'm in my office on Friday evening until the last stroke of midnight. You have my word.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen?
There's an easier way, you know.
Not another word. Take them home this instant.
Yes, sir.
We'll discuss this when I get back.
Come along, children. The children have packed up the last of their things themselves.
Well done, everyone. All right, have you got Gilly?
Yes, Father.
Good, good.
Good riddance to that old kitchen. Never could figure out that stove.
All right, well, we'll spend every last moment that we can here. It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, old friend.
Goodbye, old friend! I found it! Bye, Willoughby.
Oh, I'm not sure that's going to get off the ground anymore. It looks more glue than kite. Georgie, did
That's all of us together in front of the, wait.
So
Certificate
ridiculous.
of shares. This is what we've been looking for. We need to get to the bank. What's the time, anyone?
7 minutes to midnight.
7 minutes. It's not enough time. We need to be at the bank by midnight.
Take the van.
No, it's no good. You still wouldn't make it in time.
Well, what can we do?
Nothing. We can't turn back time.
Why not? Everything is possible. Even the impossible. Can we do it then, Mary Poppins? Can we turn back time?
Sometimes it's just impossible.
I don't see why
but-
that couldn't be arranged.
Good. Now over to the tower, boys.
This is a great way to commit suicide.
Now!
That would not work. To that height, way more probably. And then the other question is, how do you get down now?
Jack! You can turn the time back now!
How? I can't reach the ants!
Honestly. They better hurry. We have less than a minute to go. Look!
She could have just done this.
3,
There's 4 sides to this tower.
1. Why hasn't Big Ben chimed? Big Ben's gone dark. That's Banks.
He's made it in time.
Not yet. He hasn't. Get down there and make sure he doesn't get inside until that blasted clock strikes 12.
But, sir...
Now, Mr. Fry!
It's the one with the light.
The first one. Okay.
You run.
Saying that
Yes,
that
quickly.
little lyric. Mary Poppins has to do everything, doesn't she?
What is all this?
It's what we've been looking for.
3, 2, 1. Burn!
No. This piece goes there.
And does it matter that it's all cut up in bits? It's still worth something, is it?
It's still valid so long as all the pieces are there.
Is that so?
Now, Georgie, there was one more piece, a corner piece with a lot of signatures on it. Do you remember that?
I must have thrown it out. I'm sorry, Father.
Oh, that's all right, Georgie.
No, it isn't. I'm afraid you have a problem, Banks. You see, without those signatures, you have no bank shares. No house. You have nothing.
Yes, it there, Willie.
It's so awesome.
You've been telling the whole of London that I've gone loony. The only loony thing I ever did was trust you to look after this bank.
You can't be serious. I've nearly doubled the profits of this bank.
Yes, by wringing it out of the customers' pockets. Their trust in us built this bank. You've squandered every last bit of their goodwill. Well, Willie, I'm back and you're out. Gentlemen, would you show my nephew to the door, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dawes.
Get off!
So glad to have you back, Mr. Dawes.
Oh, thank you, Michael. The house is yours.
Welcome home, everyone.
It's nice to be back, isn't it?
It is. It's so nice.
Let's go! Race you up the stairs! No fair, you got a head start.
Goodbye.
Okay, that was Mary Poppins Returns. Yeah, this was a suggestion by a few of you. I think it was more than 3 of you, but there was 3 that I noticed on YouTube. Again, Patrick Does, thank you. Summer Rose, once again, thank you. And Kathy Astrom, thank you very much. I think the coolest part about this movie was the appearance of Dick Van Dyke's reoccurrence of his character that he plays at the end of the... he plays it in the original movie, and he's kind of the villain. the same way that Colin Firth is the villain in this one, but he turns a corner more so than Colin Firth does, I'd say. Yeah, and then I noticed Chris O'Dowd's voice right away. He's got such a distinct accent and a distinct voice to him, so that was pretty easy. But yeah, you know, this movie isn't anything new. It's literally the same movie in so many ways as the original. It's just this time they, you know, they had better technology to produce certain effects that they were going for. Even though it looked like they did keep trying to stick to classic style however possible. Emily Blunt did a great job, and she kind of gave Mary Poppins a slightly different edge to her. She didn't want to in any way be too influenced by Julie Andrews and do a copycat. She wanted to make her own version of Mary Poppins, and there she has. In some ways, people look at this movie and think it's blasphemous because it's like, okay, what is it? P.L. Travers, is that her name? I can't remember. The author of this original book. I mean, that's the thing. Like, the original movie is already so drastically different from what the author had intended. So when the original movie came out, it was already very different from a different perspective. And this isn't really guilty of anything major. The other exciting part to this movie was the contribution of appearance of Angela Lansbury, who you all know as Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. It's really nice to see her in action, and her and Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke was more exciting because he was more prominent in the original. I don't think Angela Lansbury was in the original, not to my knowledge. But it was nice to see both of them in this film. It's really funny to me how Mary Poppins insists on believing in the imaginary and the magical and the fantastical and the impossible. But she always undermines children whenever they do. And she's always like, you must not. And I'm not sure if that derives from the book or, yeah. But it's just kind of funny. It kind of adds humor because it's like you can't win with her. But you still win. And that was the thing. She was pulling the strings the whole movie, and you could see it the whole way. You should do this so this thing can happen. You should do this so that this thing can happen. And you know what? You should do this. And why don't we do this so that this thing can happen? The whole movie, she's almost a god. She's just kind of puppeteering this entire thing. So, all right, guys. Well, this was fun, and thank you so much once again for all the suggestions. If you want to support us, go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/fantheorytv. We have full-length reactions, unseen stuff. We have a few things that we put there we don't even put here. And you can also check out our other YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantheorytv. Support us there. Make sure you subscribe and like to both of our channels and click that notification bell so you can see when our new episodes come up. And of course, lastly, we have a merchandise store, so go check out our merchandise at teespring.com/stores/fantheorytv, or you can check out our stores tab here on YouTube, as well as the shelf that should pop up in any of these videos. All right, until next week when this dude does it again.